1 minute and around 23 seconds. A minute and 23 seconds.
That has got to be the worst. I mean, if we're talking fantasy warfare, that's not fantasy warfare. That is fucking false
Bullshit.
advertising. That has got to be. I mean, like, it's one thing to have a kind of match like that if, say, Goldberg was going up against someone on Monday Night Raw, or maybe WCW, like, around 15 years ago or something. But, sorry. Wait, how long has it been since he... Okay.
He left 12 years ago, and I don't think he's wrestled in WCW for like 16 years.
And then WWE, that match was garbage. Let's just call it what it is. The match itself was garbage, and it cheated everyone that was looking forward to it.
Yeah, there was not a single suplex. There was no F5s. There
was no offense by Brock Lesnar, period.
Whatsoever. I mean, he went down and they threw away and shit all over the streak. They shit all over the beast incarnate. No one is going to believe this guy anymore. Like, who cares? You got beat up by a 50-year-old. You're not tough.
Yeah. And no matter what story you choose to believe that has been posted since that incident, the fact of the matter is that they built this thing up like it was going to be Armageddon.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I mean, the guys, Dave Meltzer and PW Insider are saying that there is going to be more matches with Goldberg, which at this point, yeah, I believe, especially with the way he came out on Raw, which we'll get to later. But the point is that you spent 5 weeks sitting there talking about this match,
hyping it up, having them almost come to blows one point at Raw,
throwing around guys like they were hot potatoes, sitting there saying, I'm going to feed your head to, to Brock Lesnar if you mention my family again. I mean, this match has probably been the most hyped match since Brock's match against The Undertaker.
And it ended in less time than...
it takes for me to take a shit, honestly. I mean, I don't think I could have pissed in that amount of time.
I don't think anyone could have blinked in that amount of time. I mean, seriously, if you didn't watch... Like, if you went to, like, go smoke a cigarette or something... before the match began, you probably came back and were like, what the hell happened? I leave for a minute to take a smoke break or something, and then you come back and this guy's on the floor and this guy's with a shirtless kid in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, this, I'm gonna be honest, how much fucking money did they have to pay Lesnar to honestly to Goldberg? Because he obviously got a boatload of money to job to him. Like, that wasn't believable to me. It really, I don't, a great many people online didn't see this as believable. You'd think, I mean, I'll give Goldberg credit where credit is due. I mean, I didn't expect it to go over 20 minutes, but less than 90 seconds? That's fucking pathetic.
That's like, friggin', that's almost a record, I'm sure of it.
Well, I don't know if it's a record, but it's disappointing. What it is it's disappointing. And I with a match of that caliber, they really squandered an opportunity at having Survivor Series dug out from the grave that it has been in for quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's like, if you really think that, I'm sorry, my mind is just too like blown from the sheer amount of
stupidity.
The only way I could really think of it is the gall that they had to have this happen. And again, it doesn't matter whether or not it was like a planned thing or if it was because Goldberg tweaked his shoulder. I mean, seriously, if this guy's wrestling, a tweaked shoulder is like, okay, so I tweaked my shoulder before. I mean, come on.
Okay, fine. You tweak your shoulder, no chimera lock. You could still go at it. For God's sakes, throw a clothesline.
Something.
But you came off looking like a wuss. And you know, the reason why this show came in this late as it did was because I honestly, the more I thought about it, the more I was angry about it.
The more you think about that match,
like, if you're one of those people that don't have the network and paid like $55 for this pay-per-view, I pity you right now. Because they are using things like this to get people to buy the network and then not delivering on what they promised. And, you know, I'm going to be honest with you about something too. You look at the quality of matches that we got at NXT Canada versus the quality of matches that we got at Survivor Series. Yeah, there is no fucking comparison.
Every match in the NXT pay-per-view was amazing.
Absolutely incredible. Survivor Series just struggled to survive.
Yeah, it was kind of the antithesis. Because we'll get to the tag team one later, but that started so clunky.
Well, yeah, I'll be honest. Whereas NXT Canada was a 10, Survivor Series was like a 5, if that. So let's get to it.
Yeah.
So, okay. First off, you had the female match, which was Bayley, Alicia Fox, Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, Charlotte for Team Raw, and Becky Lynch, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, and Carmella. Now, it was supposed to be Nikki Bella leading the team, but then, oh, gee, somebody attacked her from behind. Carmella. And,
okay, so we don't know who, technically.
It was friggin' Carmella. Come on. Don't be stupid.
Okay, I still say that it was Natalya. I'm holding to that. I am holding to that. I don't think that it was Carmella.
You know, if they were smart, they would say it was Natalya. But WWE's creative is stupid. So they're going to say it's Carmella. It's obvious. Vince gives us shit that is obvious. I mean, I love what Triple H is doing with NXT, but I absolutely despise what Vince has done to Raw and its brand. I mean, at this point, I can know. Well,
Natalya is SmackDown.
Well, I know, but this whole thing, the brand WWE right now, it needs help. It is on life support. This whole thing has just gotten way too obvious. And they need some fucking creative minds in there to save this company because they are not winning. They are losing with the fans.
Okay. Let's
anyway,
not get into
the
another...
point is Natalya took over for Nikki Bella. So a fight broke out, and Nia Jax pretty much threw everyone on SmackDown on their ass.
Yeah, Nia Jax dominated like half the match until
Nia Jax taps out in like 4 seconds to a disarmer.
Wait,
4 seconds.
Was that it? I thought she was covered.
No, she tapped to a disarmer. Now, I don't know about you, but Nia Jax is pretty friggin' big. Why the hell she doesn't just get up and throw, freaking Becky Lynch on her ass is beyond me. Because I've seen women half her size do that. I mean, that was just a disappointing elimination because these types of matches are really supposed to push newer talent. And Miss Jobberville could have been pushed through the moon if she'd gotten further in the match.
Well, she wasn't the first one eliminated, though.
No, she wasn't, but the match really wasn't all that memorable because people were getting eliminated right and left. The match, I think, lasted all of about 11 minutes.
Yeah, the first two elimination matches really didn't last that long.
Alicia Fox eliminated Carmella. That was good for Alicia Fox because at least people know who the hell Alicia Fox is now.
Yeah.
Alexa Bliss eliminated Alicia Fox. In my honest opinion, Alexa Bliss should have totally been on display right there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is someone who is moving up in the company. She's taken her opportunities, and she was
her attitude.
She was given the ball, and she's running with it on SmackDown. I don't think she'd be getting these opportunities if she was on Raw or if there hadn't been a brand split. I mean, obviously, I've got my beefs with the brand split too, but let's not talk about that.
It's done some good for some people.
Yes, it has. And this women's match was sloppy, but for those that got their spots, they were very deserving of them.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, at the end, Naomi was eliminated by countout because she got thrown out of the ring when Nia Jax was on a friggin' tirade.
Yeah.
Sasha Banks was eliminated by Natalya, and that, in my opinion, you're making Sasha Banks look weak. I'm sorry, but Crazy Cat Lady was never even supposed to be in the match.
Yeah.
But now you've got her eliminating someone that just a month or so beforehand was fighting in the very first women's Hell in a Cell. I call bullshit.
Yeah. Agreed.
So, I mean, they are trying to make her look weak now for some stupid reason. And then at the end, Natalya was eliminated by Charlotte. And then Bayley eliminated Becky Lynch, which left Team Raw the winners. Now, here's the thing. And this is what I hate about this whole thing.
Yeah.
The last two people left standing in this match were Bayley and Charlotte. So instead of letting Bayley have her first WWE pay-per-view win, I mean, minus NXT, well, I guess it's not her first. She did have one with the tag team. But, I mean, her first straight up, I guess it's not even a singles win, but where she won it. And it is her first Survivor Series. So, instead of giving her that moment, they had Charlotte attack her.
Yeah, and I'm in agreement with you. I'm sick of Charlotte now.
Charlotte, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but give me a minute. Charlotte is now 13-0 at pay-per-views. And I'm sorry, but I feel like I'm being force-fed Charlotte like every fucking month. She will not defend the title cleanly during the monthly pay-per-views. She'll defend them cleanly on Raw, and then she usually gets handed the win. In the last year and a half, she has had all of 2 months where she didn't have the title.
Yeah.
So I have to be honest here. It's time to get away from Charlotte. She's beautiful. She is obviously a good wrestler, but you're making me hate someone that you don't need to make me hate.
And honestly, the best comparison I could have for this is what they used to do for The Rock, like every freaking month.
Yeah, or Triple H.
Yeah, they're now they're doing with the women wrestlers what the men wrestlers did, and that is they're taking name recognition and they're shoving it down our throats.
Yeah, because she's the daughter of Ric Flair. You know what? Who gives a fuck? Okay,
we get she's talented. Move on. Give Bayley a chance.
Give Sasha Banks a chance. Hell, give Nia Jax a chance.
Yeah, especially Nia Jax. She's been doing jack all lately. So I don't get the point of that.
Yeah, I mean, especially on Raw, your women's division sucks. So this is probably why. So take a look at this, and maybe going into the Rumble or WrestleMania, realize it's time to end your protection of Charlotte, because this chick is about as protected as Roman Reigns at this point. And it's
and
disgusting.
We all know how that's going.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to hear, except here's the thing. Roman Reigns is supposed to be a face, and he gets booed. Charlotte, there will be no flipping Charlotte, because everyone will hate her.
Yeah, and, the opposite of hate isn't, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference.
Yeah.
And if you keep pushing Charlotte the way she's being pushed, ain't nobody gonna care after a while.
Anyway, getting to the next match, it was Miz versus Sami Zayn. Now, here's my problem. The Miz versus anyone at this point is a fucking pointless match to me. And the reason why is because of Maurice. Ooh, Maurice cheated for me for the umpteenth fucking time.
Yeah, it's getting really tiring seeing dirty finishes to Miz's matches like every single week.
If you're so I wrestle a safe style, blah, 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 well, you know what? How about wrestling somebody who doesn't have a safe style? How about instead of putting Paul Ellering in a shark cage, we put Maurice in a fucking shark cage?
Yeah, something like that.
Have you drop a can of Kaboom or something to cheat and spray a little pepper spray? But I'm honestly, it's getting lame.
It's getting old, and because Miz is a good wrestler, if anything, he should be winning on his own merits.
Yeah, he really should. And honestly, this it's beginning to make The Miz look weak. I don't want to see him with the IC title anymore. I want to see someone have a good long run. And I want to see someone, really make a difference with that title, because Miz is not doing that.
And honestly, I think Sami Zayn would have been perfect for that, in my opinion.
But Sami Zayn is on Raw, and we should have known going into this match that it wasn't going to happen. Now, what John and I both hoped was that Sami Zayn would win, and then by some awkward trade or something like that, that SmackDown would get Sami Zayn. But there's no place for a guy like The Miz on Raw, so obviously that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And, Sami Zayn won't come. And, I hope this is because somewhere in the near future they are looking at a legit title shot for Sami, because he deserves it.
I'm not holding my breath.
Fuck this jobber shit with Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is not a jobber. Sami Zayn fought Finn Balor. Sami Zayn fought Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah, and did a damn good job too.
Both.
Did you watch? Because I was watching the match between Sami Zayn and Nakamura, and how he dodged the Kinshasa and turned it into a freaking hold.
Yeah, and
you're making Sami Zayn look like the weakest guy in the room. You're putting him in the middle card? Because why? Because you want to make Miz look weak? So you're going to make both of them look weak?
No, they want to make Miz look strong, but what they don't realize is that after 6 or 7 DQs, you don't look like a strong champion anymore. You look stupid. Next match, we have the tag team match, which...
That was one hell of a clusterfuck.
Yeah, my analogy with this match is it was a lot like a sloppy Joe. It starts out really sloppy and all over the place, and then as you eliminate the tag teams, it looked a lot better and was a lot easier to digest.
If I remember correctly, in the first 5 minutes, 2 teams had already been eliminated.
Well, here's speaking of which, hold on the eliminations.
Okay.
The fact of the matter is that this match didn't need to have as many tag teams as it did.
I think 5 on each side might have been just a little much.
But they were trying to match the whole 5-on-5 concept, so okay, I guess whatever. Here,
it just highlights that Raw needs more tag teams.
Here was my big problem. Your first 2 eliminations were Breezango and the New Day. Now, New Day was supposed to be the captains for Team Raw, and you're going to job them out in a minute.
to Breezango.
To Breezango, yeah. And then Breezango was the first ones eliminated. They were not the ones who eliminated New Day.
Really? Are you sure about that?
Yeah,
oh,
Fashion
right.
Police were out first.
Oh, and then New Day.
Yeah. Now, it was New Day, Enzo and Cass, Shining Stars, Gallows and Anderson, and Sheamus and Cesaro versus Rhino and Heath Slater, Breezango, the Usos, the Hype Bros, and American Alpha. Now, Breezango was eliminated by New Day, who were also then eliminated by the Usos, which were the first 2 that we were talking about. New Day eliminated Breezango in 10 seconds.
Yeah, it was pathetic.
Here's the thing. New Day should have been the one eliminated in 10 seconds. And do you want to know why? It's because they don't need the hype. They don't.
No, they're already the champions.
And they're about to break Demolition's record, which we already know is going to fucking happen. So stop shoving that down our throats. But the fact of the matter is that Brazongo, a team that needed the push because they don't have much hype behind them, got eliminated in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, this by far was the biggest injustice of that match, next to American Alpha, who pretty much got jobbed out too. But anyway, to keep going, after New Day was eliminated, the Hype Bros were eliminated by Gallows and Anderson, which was their first elimination. At least Gallows and Anderson had 2 friggin' eliminations in this match.
Yeah, they actually stuck around a bit, and they were actually good wrestlers.
American Alpha then eliminated the Shining Stars. And then a brawl breaks out. Then the club eliminated American Alpha. And then Team Raw won because Sheamus and Cesaro then eliminated the Usos.
Now, can I just say this? At this point, I basically I wipe my hands because pretty much that should have been the end of Survivor Series. I mean, Raw won, basically. They won the first 2 Survivor Series elimination matches. They didn't even try to mix it up.
Yeah, in my personal opinion, the women from SmackDown should have been the winners. And they really were the winners, in my opinion, because that lineup versus Raw's lineup, I don't care how much star power you have, quote unquote, on Raw. The harder workers were the ones on SmackDown.
Yeah, the people that actually get chances on SmackDown.
Yeah.
While on Raw, they continue to bury Bayley.
And just about everyone else who isn't named Charlotte.
Yeah.
Now, your next match was Brian Kendrick and Kalisto.
Okay, I have to say this. I can write this shit. Because I said I believe in the last video that if Sami Zayn lost, Brian Kendrick was going to win. Reason being is because they would never, and I mean ever, take a title away from a show without switching it out for another title. It would be too much. So I already knew that I already knew the ending of the match between Brian Kendrick and Kalisto. That it was going to be Brian Kendrick with the win. It was, but the thing is that the reason behind the win is why the match was so trash. Gary, why don't you go ahead and...
Yeah, and to finish up that point, I wouldn't have had a problem with this match, even if they didn't want to switch the titles, if Brian Kendrick had won clean. Now, Kalisto technically was the quote-unquote winner, but since he didn't win, that, he didn't win by pinfall anyway, and didn't win the Cruiserweight title, so the title didn't change hands.
Yeah.
It didn't change shows.
But
the reason why he didn't win was because some random... What was random?
It was Corbin.
It was Baron Corbin, which everybody probably saw coming, because Baron Corbin, they have nothing for him to do.
He is quickly becoming a thorn in SmackDown's side.
Well, he's becoming a thorn in a lot of fans' sides because...
Well, that's kind of what I mean.
Well, he's just dumb,
They're trying to give him this bully persona, and it's just making him unlikable.
Well,
at least in my opinion.
it's not only unlikable, he's creating ends to matches that are just, especially a match like this, that's, everybody wanted to see the cruiserweights on SmackDown because SmackDown is the wrestling show. They don't get shit on Raw, okay? Well, let's just make that clear. Raw has how many 3-on-3 fucking cruiserweight matches?
Yeah, they're constantly having to put all of their freaking cruiserweights in one match because they can't give enough time to the
them.
cruiserweights.
I guarantee that would not be the case on SmackDown. But no, what happened in this match, Kalisto was kind of taking it to Brian Kendrick, and then Baron Corbin comes in and gives end of days to Kalisto, which results in a disqualification. Now, I don't know about you, but quite frankly, this match just disgusted me. At this point, I just didn't care. It was like no titles changed hands. So obviously...
And not to mention, I'm sorry to interject here, but, way to really celebrate your cruiserweight division. Bravo, fucking oh, because you have just now made the cruiserweight title look so freaking pathetic. I mean, it's one thing to have like one match on Monday night for a cruiserweight match, but now you're not even allowing an actual fucking cruiserweight match in your pay-per-view to finish cleanly.
Yeah, that's pretty weak. I mean, this was the first Big Four match for the Cruiserweight division, and you shit all over it. Congratulations, WWE. I mean, I'm not entirely sure what your intentions were, but, man, this pay-per-view was easily the most painful one to get through all year. And and now the one saving grace of this fucking pay-per-view was this one. And it was the men's 5-on-5, which, as much as I hate to admit it with how bad this pay-per-view was a good match.
Yeah.
And this was probably the only good match because there was no favoritism shown to anyone. Now, the men's team, you had you had Team SmackDown and Team Raw. Team SmackDown was AJ Styles, Shane McMahon, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, and
Dean Ambrose.
I already said Dean Ambrose.
Okay, so it was Shane McMahon, Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton,
Dean Ambrose, and AJ Styles. And then you had James Dickworth,
the mascot.
as your mascot.
James Chinsworth.
I don't even like this guy anymore. Like, why? This is like having the jobbers around, No,
this is having a jobber around and trying to build him up to superstar status.
Which isn't going to happen because it's not believable.
Well,
you are wasting your time.
We're talking about a company that did what it did to the Cruiserweight division. Why are you surprised?
Well, anyway, Team Raw was Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, and
Braun
Strowman. Now, to begin, AJ and Dean Ambrose were in a fight. And then Dean was eliminated by Strowman. Then shortly after that, Strowman got beat the crap out of and placed on the announce table. And in one of the better spots of the night, there were about 3 in this match that were really entertaining, but some...
In my personal opinion, this was the best one.
Shane McMahon jumped off the top rope onto Braun Strowman through an announce table.
Broke the friggin' table.
Well,
Granted, they had to have Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt hold them down.
Yeah, but he definitely came off of that top rope with a lot of heat.
Now, granted, that wasn't necessarily the part that eliminated Braun Strowman. It was what happened after that eliminated Braun Strowman.
Which they can't even let this match be clean. Because they got to have James Dickworth holding him from under the rope to eliminate Braun Strowman.
Now, so stupid, such a pointless thing. But, I mean, it happened?
Yeah.
Is this real life?
Whatever. Anyway, Owens was DQ'd because he saw Chris Jericho and almost about to get a Styles Clash. So he grabs the list of Jericho and then hits AJ Styles in the back with it, which it eliminated Kevin Owens by disqualification. And then, but it did stop AJ Styles from doing the Styles Clash to Jericho.
But
Jericho, unfortunately,
cared more about the list than he did about taking the opportunity he was given.
And then he was eliminated. So Jericho and Kevin Owens were then eliminated right off the top, along with Dean Ambrose. That's like 3 of the most popular guys you got.
Mm-hmm.
Then Reigns ended up in the corner later on during the match. And Shane was going to go for a coast to coast. Bounced off of the mat, and you know, he probably got a concussion. So it was very difficult. It probably, he wouldn't have been able to continue. So he was escorted. And while he was being escorted, and I think you will agree with me on this, you know, Randy Orton was out talking to Shane's kids and telling them it was going to be okay and your dad will be fine. And, you know, props to Randy Orton for caring that much to calm down his kids and everything. Because that's the sign of a guy that backstage has got respect for not only his brand, but his bosses. So I get the feeling that Shane does have some sort of pull on SmackDown. So, you know, it's nice to see that. But yes, Shane was eliminated, leaving Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, and AJ Styles against Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Now, we definitely got something for a short moment that we wanted to see. I think you'd agree with that, right, John?
By which do you mean?
Well, with AJ Styles, you had Dean Ambrose come back out.
Right. So, Dean Ambrose, even though he was eliminated, came out and decided, because AJ Styles was the reason he was eliminated. He, I believe, got a Pele kick, and then Braun Strowman finished him off.
Yeah.
So then Dean Ambrose came out. The security tried to get him out of there, but Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins decided, you know what? Screw it. So they just started attacking the security officers and helped Dean Ambrose out. And then I believe they used the German announce table to
Whatever announce table was left at
Yeah.
that point.
So they had done the power bomb, the move to AJ Styles onto the announce table.
Well, they did the Shield power bomb move.
And then they threw him back in the ring and covered him.
Yeah, I mean, they straight up gave him the Roman Reigns treatment. And let's say this, there have been many a person to walk across that power bomb. None of them got back up. So I didn't expect AJ Styles to. I mean, you can tell just by how heated me and my partner over here are about this pay-per-view that we got ripped.
Yeah.
I mean, the last few things that happened with the pay-per-view was that after this, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins was eliminated by AJ Styles, and then AJ Styles got eliminated, and then Orton pinned Rollins, and then Reigns lost to Bray Wyatt after Sister Abigail.
Yeah,
now,
although I do want to talk about the end of that match because it sort of works into the storyline, to the ongoing storyline on
the
SmackDown,
Wyatts,
which is Randy Orton pushed Bray Wyatt out of the way. Now, granted, Luke Harper had come out to distract Roman Reigns,
but yeah, he was about to be speared, and then like what my brother,
Randy Orton pushed him out of the way, and which he took the spear for Bray Wyatt, and then Bray Wyatt's sister Abigail, Roman Reigns, got the pin, and the Wyatt family was basically the last two standing.
Yeah, and the Wyatts were the last two standing. I mean, in one way, this was a great win for Bray. You know, yay for finally letting Bray win a fucking pay-per-view match.
Yeah.
But, you know, it had to be Survivor Series where you can't even give the entire win to Bray. I mean, again, you fucked up. So
well, I was a little less angry about that than I was with the women's match or the tag team match.
Well, I'm less angry about it, but I feel a little disappointed by it, and it should have been. It should have been his. He should be pushed as a singles wrestler. This nonsense. I mean, this whole Survivor Series concept needs to be revised. And whatever you did this year, you need to not do it next year.
Yeah, like how about some clean fucking finishes?
Right. Next, we want to talk a little bit about Raw. So give me a moment. John, you want to...
Okay, so to start off Raw, we had Goldberg coming out, and I'm just gonna spill the beans. He is basically staying for a bit. Now, granted, we have no idea how many more matches he's gonna wrestle, but we do know for a fact he's gonna be in the Rumble, and he is going after we assume the Universal title, since he's going to be going into the Rumble.
Now, the beans that my friends have spilled have been confirmed by Dave Meltzer and Pro Wrestling Insider, so it's not BS. But the fact of the matter is that he did announce that he was going to be in the Rumble. And it does appear that some sort of program to get him and Lesnar back together will probably happen between now and WrestleMania. I mean, you've got 2 big pay-per-views between now and WrestleMania. Obviously, these guys are too big for shit like Roadblock and TLC and all this other crap you're going to have in between them. So, the only place I could see this happening at is WrestleMania. One will get a title, the other will win the Rumble, and then you'll fuck up the Rumble this year, too. So, yay for doing that. Anyway, next thing on Raw was you had a match which Cesaro and Sheamus earned for winning the tag team title match. They earned a title match against New Day, which they lost because of tomfoolery due to New Day.
Again, just, dirty finishes all around.
Yeah, you can see because Cesaro had a submission, the Canadian submission, which we all know as the sharpshooter, on, I believe it was Xavier Wood?
Yeah. Wait.
Was it Xavier
no,
Wood or
no,
Kofi?
I think it was Kofi Kingston.
Oh, yeah, it was on Kofi.
Because Xavier Wood was using...
Francesca.
Yeah.
And Francesca was being blown into the ring. The referee got distracted by Francesca, missed the tap, by the way, from Kofi, turned around, and then Kofi wins the match.
Yeah, that was lame.
And it was disappointing because it seems to me is disappointing in 2 ways. One, why are you trying to suddenly change the direction of the New Day right before they pass up Demolition's record? Like, what, do you want them to be heels? Like, how are you going to pass on the titles to somebody like Gallows and Anderson if they're heels? What is your plan, to pass it to Cass and Enzo? I mean...
Well, I think their plan is probably eventually to give the titles to Sheamus and Cesaro later on, which is why they've been hyping them so much. Now, I have to say, I'm going to be honest, I do think they make a good team.
They're growing on me. I'm not going to lie. I didn't think it would work, but they're growing on me. They are.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the point. I don't think we were meant to think it would work because they are such dominant singles competitors.
Well, but here's the problem. Sheamus sucks with promos. He really does. Like, I remember last year's Survivor Series. Ooh, I'm Sheamus 515. Yeah, does anyone remember that? Yeah, I don't remember it either. But you know what I remember from this year? Goldberg 126. You know? It's called I Just Speared Your Ass. But, yeah, honestly, the fact is that I think Sheamus and Cesaro are making dominant progress as a tag team. I think that Raw needed a good tag team, and these guys make a great power tag team. I would love to see those two go up against the Revival. That would make for a good heel-face beatdown. Mm-hmm. Now, the next part of Raw, which actually had me laughing, because we all needed a laugh after Survivor Series. Cass locked out Enzo from their locker room, and they were digitizing where his penis would be because supposedly he was naked. And
I still say that he probably had like a Speedo on or something.
Oh, I'm sure it was a Speedo. I don't think they'd leave him like flat out naked.
Yeah.
But the fact that Lana, was there and...
She had a hard time keeping a straight face.
Yeah, she almost broke kayfabe there. I honestly do. And I think Rusev walked up very quickly to play his part in the whole plot line, which set up the Rusev Enzo match for later on in the night. Then you had Cedric Alexander and Arya Daivari go off against each other. Cedric Alexander won. Rusev, and then Rusev.
So now we get to squash hour.
Oh yeah. The second hour, which is usually jobber hour. I'm beginning.
Bathroom break hour.
Yeah, because that's what the second hour of Raw is jobber hour, is what it has become. I think that Raw needs to go back to 2-hour shows if this is the direction they're headed in.
Or how about, more freaking cruiserweight matches?
Or real matches that don't have shitty endings.
So anyways, go on.
But Rusev did defeat Enzo, Rusev crushed.
Rather-handedly.
Yeah, it's a good thing that Big Cass stepped in when he had the accolade on Enzo, because if Big Cass hadn't stepped in, that could have gotten owie, He would not have been in a good way. Then you had the Golden Truth, who was basically jobbed out to the club. Gallows and Anderson basically beat the crap out of them too. What more is there really to say about it? Because Golden Truth is a gimmick, and yeah, it's called Skip Match. Wasn't worth talking about. Then you had Braun Strowman defeating Sami Zayn,
which was just it was so much of a massacre that Mick Foley actually had to come out and stop the match.
Which is really lame. You build up Sami Zayn last night only to shoot him right back down to shitty level.
Like, seriously, is he like an asshole backstage or something?
Yeah.
Do they just hate him? Honestly, I can't fathom how you take a talent like Sami Zayn, one of the best wrestlers at the time in NXT, and you're literally making him not even mid-card. You're making him bottom tier trash.
Like, is he on the list of Jericho? I don't remember. But obviously, once you get put on the list of Jericho, you become a piece of shit or something. I don't know, but, they might need to make another list, the list of jobbers, because that's a pretty long list, and I need to know who sucks, because there's more people on that list than there are legit people.
I want to put this in perspective. They are making Sami Zayn look weaker than Ellsworth.
Yeah, they are. And Ellsworth has 3 wins now.
Over AJ
Styles. And that's getting to SmackDown, which we'll cover more on Saturday. But I really am just...
How do you let this happen? Because I honestly want to know, how do you let a travesty like this happen, where you have a talent as good as Sami Zayn going up against Braun Strowman and being thrown around like he threw around James Ellsworth?
Like, Braun Strowman and Sami Zayn have gone up against each other several times in the last few weeks. I'm going to be honest, I'm a little tired of it. Put him up against somebody that's on his level, talent-wise, and, on his level popularity-wise. It's time to stop being stupid. And it's like, what is Braun Strowman to WWE? He's shit.
Yeah. Sami
Zayn gets such a big pop, but that pop is starting to turn into crickets.
Yeah, he's lost so often that honestly, like, whenever he has a match, people don't care anymore.
Yeah, people really don't. Anyway, then you had Sasha and Bailey defeat Nia Jax and Charlotte.
Well, finally, Charlotte doesn't win a match.
Yeah, because it's not a pay-per-view. Duh. You know, it's like Sasha and Bailey did need this win, and good off for them. They needed to not look weak, but stuff like this needs to continue because I've officially OD'd on Charlotte. I'm out on Charlotte. Charlotte is so overly fucking protected. She is on a level with Roman Reigns is how protected she is, and The Miz.
Yeah, and I want to just put this out there. The lead up to this match, I believe, was that Sasha Banks, right, was up there, and Nia Jax came out not to talk to Charlotte, not to challenge her for the title, but to target Sasha Banks. Seriously, you're going to target not the person who's holding the title, but the... I don't get it. Why?
Well...
I guess she's a villain.
I don't mind old school type feuds in that way, but only if they have something to do with reaching the title. Now, the fact is that Charlotte is so protected that having that ladder system to a title it doesn't exist. It's the same thing with Roman Reigns and The Miz. It doesn't matter who you put them against because they're so fucking protected by this company now that you can put said person like Chris Jericho or Maurice in a fucking shark cage and they'll still win. It doesn't matter. This company is giving up on so much of its prime talent to protect people that either nobody likes or people just want to move on from. And I don't want to see Charlotte go into that section of we hate you and we never want to see you with a title. Because that's what's happening with The Miz and it's what's happening with Roman Reigns. And now people are starting to hate Charlotte. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Well... I don't know. I see your point. I really think that Charlotte's been way overplayed.
She's undefeated at pay-per-views, bro.
Well, yeah, no, I know. I'm agreeing with you.
I think overplayed is an underwhelming term for it. But yeah. Anyway, the next match was actually for the WWE title. Now, the next match had Rick Swann defeating TJ Perkins and Noam Dar for the number one contendership at the Cruiserweight title. Decent match. I think that Rick Swann deserves it, but oh, gee, it's the Cruiserweights. No wonder that's the only division that makes sense, right?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, granted, the matches that they have, the wrestlers put effort into them at least, but that's because they want to get noticed. But now you're going to have it to where the only way that they're really going to get noticed well enough is on their own show, which I guarantee you, the vast majority probably isn't going to pay for, WWE Network just to watch that. Or I don't know.
No, they'll just watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
But anyway, point being that, as far as the Cruiserweight division is concerned, you wonder why Kalisto doesn't want to be a part of that. It's because he doesn't want to be regulated to one title.
Well, no,
You
delegate is the right word.
Okay, you wonder why Kota Ibushi won't sign with you?
That was probably the smartest decision he made. Because honestly, like me and Gary couldn't figure out for the life of us why he wouldn't sign. But now that we know what their plan it was for the cruiserweights, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see Kota Ibushi take on fucking Brock Lesnar like he did in New Japan. Because I don't care how much you weigh, it's how much ass you can kick.
Yeah.
Not like Goldberg 123, you know? It's friggin' ridiculous. At the end of the night, we did get a WWE Universal title match.
Which was no DQ.
Right. It was Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins because Rollins was calling in the
he was calling in his shot.
His title shot.
Because to be on the Survivor Series SmackDown team, Stephanie and McFoley had to make assurances that win or lose, he would get his shot.
Exactly. So, you know, regardless, he got that shot on Monday. And Jericho was, you know, banned from ringside.
Yeah.
So
now,
what does Jericho do?
Well, wait. First of all, I just want to say the match itself was amazing. A lot of high impact spots, especially one coming from the rafters to the ground level, because they were fighting all around the ring, and it was just so. Anyways, though, towards the end of that match, they can't leave a single match alone for a night. Because, well, do you want to tell them or should I?
You mean the fact that Jericho interfered because he had like a Sin Cara mask on?
Yeah, I believe it was a white Sin Cara mask, and he was beating the crap out of Seth Rollins from outside of the barricade. Rollins pulled off the mask, and it turned out to be Jericho. And
another surprise from the list of disqualifications. I mean, Jericho.
and so, he managed to distract Rollins long enough to where Kevin Owens was able to beat the crap out of him, powerbomb him. I believe it was on the side of the ring, and roll him in and cover him and got the 3 count, and then Jericho and Jericho and Kevin Owens, celebrated, and that's pretty much how it ended. So yeah, no clean finish, no clean title finish.
Yeah, and you know, I wouldn't expect, I didn't expect any clean title finishes from anything this week because, well, they needed to have title defenses because they didn't have any except for IC and not Intercontinental. Well, yeah, the Intercontinental and the Cruiserweight. They didn't have any other title defenses. So it comes to a disappointment that none changed hands over this past week.
Yeah, it was. I mean, from Survivor Series to Raw, it was overwhelmingly disappointing.
Yeah, and even though we're not going to be talking about SmackDown till Saturday,
that was also overwhelmingly disappointing.
So, I mean, this has just come to me as one of the most disappointing 3 days, like, ever. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, they should have just left it at NXT Canada. Because NXT Canada, that was the only part of the last 3-4 days that were good. Like the rest of it, in all honesty, just
It was either trash, silly trash, or stupid trash.
But it was all trash nonetheless. I mean, you can see, earlier on in this video, I got pretty heated with my partner. Is like part of the reason I'm so heated. This pay-per-view sucked.
Yeah, and I don't blame you for that. I think that this whole thing, I don't know what they're trying to accomplish here. It's like it's sort of like a drug addict. They're doing so good for so long, and now they started backsliding.
Yeah, like you go to Battleground, which is probably for me the number one pay-per-view of the year at this point, and you look at what happened at Battleground, and then you go from then to now. It has been nothing but shit. SummerSlam, okay, you can make your arguments for that, especially with the clean AJ Styles finish on Cena. But the fact is that we were led to believe that this match with Goldberg was going to be such a big deal, and then it turned out to not be a big deal at all. I am so disappointed in their ability to make matches now. I honestly don't think that they see the big picture. It's not about worrying about the past. It's about thinking about the future.
And they need to stop worrying so much about the long term, in my opinion, because that was another one of the reasons, because they wanted Goldberg for the long term. But in doing that, you stripped people who probably bought tickets specifically for that match to be, you basically just cheated them.
Yeah, you cheated so many people that wanted to see Goldberg versus Lesnar, and what they got was 2-year-old versus Silly Putty. So, honestly, regardless of what stories you believe or who paid who off to do what, or how much, or if there is going to be a rematch between Goldberg and Lesnar, which I'm sure there will be, but it really does not matter at this point because they already done fucked it up. So, personally, I think that all we can really do is beat this into the ground forever. So, I'm just going to say for the show, I'm Gary.
I'm John.
And Top Guys, out.